Well, good morning. Getting ready for a delivery of flowers to the restaurant. We make deliveries too, but right now it's October 3rd, and I thought it would be a good time to walk around the farm and update everybody and myself so I can record for the future about what's going on. I think it's important, and trying to get better at documenting what's going on the farm, how things went, updates on it all, and so this video is hopefully an effort to get better at that. But I just opened up the chickens. They're out free ranging right now. I just collected a couple of eggs, but the main update on the chickens is just that this time of year we do like to let them out to free range more. During the summer we tend to keep them closed up, but that's mostly because they just get into the landscaping and make a huge mess. So here, for starting my nursery, been doing some work here. Got several different varieties of hostas. I have a variegated Solomon seal over there, some dappled willow, honey locusts. I got some cuttings that I started, which are some boxwoods, some weigelas, and some spireas. Those should be ready in, let's say a year or so to pot up, and then they might need another year to size up. That's how it goes. Time horizon on this stuff is often about 2 years. And then in here I got that Autumn Joy Sedum on the left and a green giant arborvitae on the right. I'm going to fill that up some more with green giant and emerald green here soon. But so over here is what we like to call our sun garden, and it's done pretty well. You can see chickens have been in the mulch quite a bit. Here's my weeping Japanese maple I got last year for my birthday. It's doing good. It was pretty small when I got it. To put on a few more inches on the tips this year. But we have this creeping Charlie in our grass, and it is pretty easy to pull out, but it is just unstoppable as far as it just keeps growing into the beds, into the landscaping bed. So if you have any ideas on how to handle that would be greatly appreciated. But this black-eyed Susan went crazy this year, turned into like a jungle. We're really going to have to split that up, divide that up, thin it out some. Alright, so over here is all the elderberry, which we harvested this year. So all the elderberry I have, 75 bushes or so, I propagated, all from wild selections. And this last winter, I cut it all to the ground, which is something I know you can do with elderberry, but for the wild ones that I had propagated and put in these rows here, they didn't like it too much. They all grew back fantastic. Some of these are got to be 14 feet tall, but they just didn't flower and fruit super well. And maybe you can see it. This one over here, where's it at? Right there, that guy has got to be a solid 14 feet. There's another one right here. It's way, way, way above my head. But they didn't fruit super well, so I got maybe a quarter of the fruit this year that I got last year. So this year I'm going to experiment with cutting them back differently. I'm thinking we will try cutting them back only by half, taking the tops off, bringing them down to maybe waist height or so. So they're a little bit further ahead in bloom a little earlier this next year. And the pool is closed for the year. Shouldn't say closed, it's more like no longer being taken care of for the year. haven't actually gone through the process of closing it yet. Let's see back here. Running back to where the zinnia are. So this is our patch of zinnia that we from saved seed, and we will save seed from again. We actually have not cut from it very much this year. Last year we depended on this for cutting for sure. This year, not nearly as much. But there's going to be some really good seed in here this year. There's actually raised beds in here with landscape plastic in between, but man, we're so busy that we just can't stay on top of these weeds, which I know is just making it harder for next year, but there are some very nice zinnia in here that are going to be great. They have tons of seed in them. Maybe just loaded. Okay, let's go look at the orchard quick. Gotta make sure the electric fence is off. Yeah, looks good. So this is the electric fence that we use to keep the deer out. It has worked fantastically. If you want to hear more about that sometime, let me know in the comments. But it was a game changer because every tree we put out here was killed by the deer. And ever since I put that fence in, I've had 0 deer in here. Oh boy, look at this. That's a problem. Obviously, I'm not in here too often. I try to come in here regularly, but again, we've been really busy with flowers that I haven't made it out into the orchard too much. The trees look good. These are Honeycrisp. Just kind of this green, dark green and lime green modeling is really, it's actually normal on Honeycrisp trees. You can try to treat it with some sprays that are high in nitrogen, but not necessarily detrimental to the plant. It just doesn't look too great. See, the peach trees did really well this year. First year we got fruit off the peach trees. These are all Red Haven trees. I'm going to keep them, all the trees in the orchard, I'm going to keep them small. So the size you see is the size they will stay. See, they're a little over my hand here. So about the tip of my fingers is about how tall I plan to keep them. This is a growing technique called backyard orchard culture, which I can talk about more in the future. But that's how and why they can grow so close to each other, and that's okay. See the spacing, I think it's something like 8 feet. The peach trees have done good. Peach trees are a shorter lived tree, so they're fruiting quicker. These pear trees also look good. Pear trees definitely want to grow upright. They've all grown skinny and tall, but they're going to get a lot of pruning. Some of these have really shot up too. Again, this guy's going to be another 3-4 feet over the tip of my fingers. The guy's almost maybe 10 feet tall. Well, these here are even taller. But I'll actually come in here anytime, really soon, and cut them about this high, about eyeball height. Next year they'll flush out and try to do this again. The pear trees, you kind of have to fight to keep them small, but they take longer to fruit too, so nothing off of them. Cherry trees, we had a few blossoms. So again, it's October 3rd, and they're losing leaves already. But they, out of all the trees that we planted, they were the slowest to establish. But they definitely took off this year, so they're looking good. I'm optimistic to get more fruit, or some fruit, off the cherries, apples, and pears next year. Or not pears, apples, peaches, and cherries. Pears will be possibly a couple more years. If you saw my last video, I talked about how we sell our flowers. If you didn't see it, go back and check that out. But the dahlias have just been rocking it. And they look great. We have lots of this. This is called a Colorado Classic. This one's a little open. You see that yellow center? So you know it's a little too far gone. That one would probably be okay to use still. But you want them with the center closed, kind of like this. But yeah, Colorado Classic. We have lots of these. Not necessarily on purpose. It's just when we started growing dahlias, we got a bunch from someone, and they told us it was a mix, but it turned out it was mostly Colorado Classic. But they grow tons of flowers. They grow tons of tubers, so they proliferate. They store well, so they've just honestly just been the best as far as that goes. That's why we've ended up with so many, kind of by accident. This year we really went out of our way to try to get more variety. And there's more in there, but a lot of the variety we have now is just 1 or 2 tubers. So we're gonna do the best we can to store and multiply those other varieties, and we're going to sell off as much of the Colorado Classic as we can possibly sell. The thing about dahlias is that they are a late summer and a fall flower. So come fall, everyone wants fall colors like yellow and orange and red. The Colorado Classics are almost a fluorescent pink. But we still make them work. We use them in a lot of things, and they do sell, so it's all right. Tomatoes, pretty much done deal here. You can see they're pretty spent. A couple of tomatoes hanging there still. We didn't really like those ones a whole lot, but never did a great job of trellising them through the year, or pruning them for that matter. But they're ready to come out. Raspberries that we have here look really good. These are actually a wild raspberry that we found on the property, propagated, brought it over, and put them there this spring, and they've looked like they were struggling, but you can see here they really popped out. They're growing really good. Once the frost hits and this dies back, I can make some more order out of it. But you can see I got a couple where I'm trying to tip layer them and propagate those. See what kind of interest there might be in that. Asparagus are looking fantastic. This is their first year, but they're way bigger than I expected. Strawberries look really good. You can see I'm trying to spread and fill the space. This is kind of all done. This is kale, cauliflower. That head's been eaten over really bad. Let's see, this was oregano, rosemary, lemon verbena. If you've ever watched Little House on the Prairie, you've heard of lemon verbena, but you should try growing it sometime because it does smell absolutely fantastic. And if you ever grow yarrow, you'll see that it escapes and it'll eventually just start growing wherever it wants, which is fine. It's a great plant. We actually use it in flowers a lot, and but it's just funny how I always find it in random places. These were the scarlet runner beans here. We grew more just for fun. They're really pretty. Foliage is nice, but oh, and then the flowers, when they're in full bloom, it's just like a big wall of these orange-red flowers. It's just beautiful. All right, and then the larger new cutting garden looks full of flowers. Again, that's partially because most of the cutting we've been doing is just focused on the dahlias right now. There is a lot of flowers in here that could be cut or should be cut. The truth is, I think at this point in the year, we're kind of running out of steam. It is a lot of work. So a lot of this is just, we're just going to let it be until the frost comes. And yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot. It's a lot of work for sure. So it's always bittersweet when it ends. This crazy grass growing. Zinnias are intense. Here's a couple of beds that I'm trying to use to establish nursery plants. See, I got spirea and spirea and the weigela are here that I'm taking cuttings off of. They'll just get to live here, and I'll just take cuttings every year off of them. But over here is where I have some arborvitaes. This is one I split off of one I bought for our actual landscape. I'd split that, and that's doing well. Here's one I bought this year. I'll let that hopefully establish and grow a little bit before I take cuttings off of it. These are some emerald greens that I bought. They were kind of brown in some spots when I bought them. That's fine. No one wants them for their landscape, but they're perfect for me. I planted them, and they just kind of look terrible. So, I think they're going to be a loss, which I guess you win some, you lose some. I didn't really expect them to be a loss like that, but it is what it is. They were like 50% off, so I think I spent maybe $5 on them each. Celosia is always a lot of fun. And actually, we had a hard time getting Celosia started this year. And so we reseeded Celosia late in the season. So we didn't have it early on. Usually we use tons of it. And anyway, so we didn't have it till late, which is why it looks so good right now, because it definitely had a late start. We also had, there we go, Bells of Ireland, which also had a late start, but they've been beautiful. And then our Snapdragons, which are having a second wind. All these ones, so this one's ready to cut. It's definitely ready to cut. This is getting to be too far along for cutting, but still all right. Same with that. They'll get used up. We cut the Snapdragon so hard through the spring and early summer. It kind of pitters out through late July and August, and then through September they started to really, you could tell they started to come back. They like that cooler weather, and right now they really look good. They'll take a light frost, but they'll go with the frost. Status, some people call it. This has been great for us. We used so much of this early in the year, especially without our Celosia. We used extra Status. It was great. This is our rose. Look at this rose. It just went nuts. We had this trellis for it, but I had to reach way over and grab the trellis for the tomatoes we've had here in the past. But this is a beautiful pink flower on here. So in a little, before too long here, before the snow comes and starts putting weight on it, I'll take it and I'll set it over the top of the trellis and put a couple zip ties on it just to help it stay in place. And then come springtime, I'll see what kind of winter dieback we had, and I'll prune it and kind of reposition everything. Same with this one. This is a yellow one. This is its first year here. We put it somewhere else last year, but it was too shady, I think. And this year it grew 4 or 5 times what it did last year. So this is a good spot for it. And then hopefully what we end up with is this entranceway that's just completely covered, this arch, with 2 giant rose bushes in full bloom, pink and yellow. And yeah, so this is our sunflowers, where we've done sunflowers, single stemmed, pro cut sunflowers, all done and over now. It was a pretty successful year on that. You see, all this obviously just needs to be pulled out at this point. These were funny stems. They got left in the trays too long, so they were really stunted. So when they came to bloom, they were super small. We used probably half of them, but they were of limited usefulness. So Anyways, as you can see around, the colors are starting, the leaves are starting to fall, and we're starting to get more and more cooler nights, cool days, and that's all right. That's the way God made it. That's the way God designed it. Here's one of our giant maple trees right by our house. It's just beautiful, all of them. You can see the tips. Whoop, there, right there. The tips of the trees are all getting colors on them. And anyways, well, like I said, this video is mostly so I can record what's happening right now in the first week of October. But if you're still here watching, and I'm just glad to have you along, and I really appreciate you watching. Every minute that you watch and every like and comment and subscribe really makes a difference. Hope to bring more content to you in the future. And as the farm grows and the nursery grows and I get better with my skills and just maintaining and running a YouTube channel, hopefully I can have you here along with me and just all enjoy the adventure together. So again, thanks for hanging out. I'll catch you the next one. Bye.